Howdy-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Oilers. So we got Oilers versus the Penguins. Game 52, January 22nd, 2026. So for the pre-show, a few issues to speak on regarding this matchup. One, it will not be Jarry versus Skinner. Penguins have decided to not play Stu Skinner this game after he put on an excellent show versus Calgary last night. Stauffer has been saying all week it would be Ingram for the Oilers, but that was false. Jarry will in fact be starting for the Oilers tonight. I will speak more on goaltending after the line roster update for this game. So as far as lines, it appears it will be 11-7 again. Hopefully Regular will actually get to play this time. RNH is back with McDavid and Hyman. The third line is the failed Howard, Rosevich, Savoy lineup. Fourth will be Majapani, Lazar, Janmark. So that leaves Podkolzin and Frederick as second line floaters. We'll have to see how that works out, as the Penguins tend to play heavy, not dirty, but heavy. And thus far, Howard and Savoy have been invisible when facing heavy teams. I'm still laughing at how hard local media is trying to turn that Savoy goal into something special, but refusing to give Wallman any credit. People, the puck hit Savoy. He didn't tip it. He didn't intentionally redirect it. Wallman made a shot and it hit Savoy, and we got a fortunate bounce. Can we please stop trying to make it into more than it really was? I mean, Stauffer actually gave Savoy a star in the last game because the puck hit him and bounced in. You can't make this crap up. So about the goaltending. There is a story being pushed that Stu Skinner was throwing shade on Edmonton. These sites want clicks to increase their revenue. Skinner did not throw shade on Edmonton. And if he did, he would be totally valid. How a portion of the fan base treated him and his family was disgusting. It really was. And blaming him for the Oilers' woes in the first 30 games is a complete joke. But it's continuing even after the trades. Stauffer last week was proclaiming Skinner as being okay for Pittsburgh from limited play, and proclaiming Jarry and Ingram as being lights out amazing. Well, that's false. Jarry and Ingram have been very, very good for us. Skinner been even better in Pittsburgh. Stu has a .931 save percentage and is 7-1 record after last night's Calgary game. Jarry is at .907. There's nothing wrong with .907. And Ingram's also at .931. So how is Stu only okay, having lifted his new team from a 10-11 game losing streak to second place in their division? Stu has played more games than Jarry, because Jarry got injured, but Stu's actually played more games, and the same number of games as Ingram. So how exactly is it limited play for Skinner, but franchise changing for Jarry and Ingram? This is the type of homerism that drives real fans crazy. I said in Wednesday's weekly video, and I'll link to it at the end of this video if you want to go watch it, and I'll say it again here. All four goalies, Skinner, Pickard, Jarry, Ingram, are very good goalies, and none of them were responsible for their team's woes early in the season. Oilers were flat out horrible in the first 24 games, and no goalie could have changed that. The biggest change since the trades is both teams are now supporting their goalies. Well, that was true up until tonight. It's about the skaters in front of the goalies. Also, let me say, if you are one of those pieces of crap sending death threats towards Stu Skinner and his family when he was here or now, go ahead, go bleep yourselves, and stop watching my videos. I do not want your support if you are one of those types. Grow the bleep up. I can't say it any more directly. If you're issuing death threats because you thought a goalie wasn't good enough, get the hell off my channel. I don't want you here. Last minute huge news at 6:34 p.m. Mountain. Leon is back, so it's not 11-7. Leon will be between Podkolzin and Majapani. It started with Leon between Podkolzin and Rosevich, but the third line was so terrible that they moved Rosevich back down onto the third line and they promoted Majapani, is what happened. Period 1. Penguins, goal, 1740. Penguin player allowed behind Bouchard unchallenged yet again. We see this every single game, so let's not pretend we're at all surprised. And taps it in on Pittsburgh's first shot of the night. Oilers take a timeout. Oilers decide not to challenge. 1-0 Penguins. Penguins goal at 17:18. Bouchard caught deep on a bad pinch. Penguins use speed around Ekholm and lift the puck over Jari, who went down early. 2-0 Penguins. Penguins goal at 17:03. These are the three fastest goals against in Oilers history. Penguins defender does a shot pass to Crosby, who deflects it in. 3-0 Penguins. That's 3 goals on 3 shots. Oilers penalty at 9:06, Stastny for interference. Penguins penalty at 8:35, slashing. So it's 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 29 seconds, and then the Oilers get a 31-second power play. Nothing came of it. Huge stop by Jari. Puck comes back to Hyman, who almost scores as the puck wobbles on the line but doesn't go in. And that's the end of the first. Shots on goal are 9-12 for the Oilers, but the score is 3-0 for the Penguins. Well, that was an ugly start. 2 mistakes by Bouchard lead to 2-0 score, and then Sid the Kid does what he's been doing his whole career. I find it interesting. Can you imagine the fake outrage by toxics in the local media if Skinner had allowed 3 goals on 3 shots? I'm not saying or suggesting there should be. I'm not actually. I'm just saying if it had been Skinner or Pickard in net, we would be hearing slurp, slurp, slurp. Sometimes you just need to make a save. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Jari is lucky he's in the honeymoon stage still, because those type of starts are what the toxics and the media in this town will intentionally drive you out of town. And again, I don't blame Jari on the 3 goals, but that's exactly what happened to Stu Skinner at the start of this season. Period 2. Oiler penalty at 16:13, McDavid for slashing. Oiler goal at 14:41, Wallman from Janmark, short-handed goal. Janmark comes down the right wall and reverses to incoming Wallman, who shoots from the slot. Short-handed goal, 3-1 Penguins. Penguins goal at 7:31. Malkin passes from behind the net to the slot where the Penguins player wrists through Stastny, a Penguin player, and one other Oiler screening Jari. He had no chance on this one. 4-1 Penguins. Penguins goal at 5:33. Malkin picks McDavid's pocket at the Penguins blue line for a breakaway, and he beats Jari 5-on-1, 5-1 for the Penguins. I firmly believe this goal was scored because Malkin knew Jari. And this is why I am so against playing goalies against their old teams immediately after trades or within 20, 30 games of the trade. Like if it's next year, that's fine. But the recency bias, these players know how to beat their old goalies. Like I think Pittsburgh was brilliant not putting Skinner in net tonight. And I watched the Calgary game and Skinner was excellent in it. Penguins penalty at 3:03, delay a game, puck over the glass, nothing comes of it. End of the second, shots on goal now are 18:22 for the Oilers, but the score is 5-1 Penguins. I don't see the Oilers coming back this time. McDavid's fighting the puck. Leon is clearly rusty from taking his short sabbatical. Howard and Savoy have been invisible for the first 2 periods, as I predicted. Our 1 goal was Wallman from Janmark. But this is what I've been saying all season. The way to beat the Oilers this season is to play hockey, heavy and physical. You don't have to be dirty. You don't have to fight. You just got to play the body. This team is designed small and soft. They massively struggle when it's not a non-contact shinny game. The team desperately needs some meat and a real third line. Rosevich should be up with Leon and Podkolzin, and the entire third line needs to have different players. Even that goal, Stastny screened Jari on. Stastny had his man, but he's simply too small and too soft to move the Penguin player away from the front of the net. So instead of clearing the front of the net, it ended up being, a triple screen, but it was a double screen from Stastny and the Penguin because Stastny couldn't budge him. Puck-moving D-men are useless if they can't do anything defensively. So anytime you hear somebody going, we need more puck-moving defensemen, slap them. A puck-moving defenseman is only useful if they can actually play defense when we're in our defensive zone. Otherwise, they're a liability. Period 3. Penguins goal at 17:07. It was a hard wrister, beach Jari high. 6-1 Penguins. Rosovich, with some great work, wins a puck battle from 2 Penguins and sends puck to Savoy, who fast passes to Howard, who unloads but goes over the net. The reason I'm mentioning this is because up to this point, it's the first time this game I've heard Howard's name, and the second time I heard Savoy's all game. And this is our third line. Oilers goal at 6:03, Savoy from Bouchard. Bouchard does an end-to-end rush. It was actually a really nice end. This is the good side of Bouchard. The defensive stuff is the bad side. This is Bouchard showcasing what he can do in the positive. He did from our net all the way to the Pittsburgh zone. It wasn't as pretty as what McDavid does, but it was a nice rush, and you got to give him credit. It was an end-to-end rush. So Bouchard does an end-to-end rush, drops to Savoy, who picks the top left corner. 6-2 for the Penguins. I mean, it was a nice shot by Savoy. You've heard me all season screaming, shoot high. So he did, and he was rewarded for shooting and shooting high. 2 things that Savoy has not done all season. And in previous times when he got this, I was like, okay, maybe this is the turn. Maybe we're going to start seeing... I don't think that, because Savoy's just going to go back to the perimeter Yamamoto routine he's been doing all season. I think it's pretty clear how he wants to play. These are the one-offs. These are not the norms. And I hate being negative like that. I really do. But, we're 52 games into the season, and this is the first legitimate goal he's had in 17 games. Yeah, last game, a puck bounced off him and went in the net, and he got credit for it. Okay, you got credit for it, but that's not a legitimate goal, in my opinion. The puck bounced off you. Okay, great. We'll take it, but that's not by design, I guess is what I'm trying to say. This was by design. This was a great rush by Bouchard. He passed it over to Savoy. Now, Savoy took too long to shoot, so I'm actually kind of surprised this went in. He should have shot a lot quicker than he did, but he got his shot off. It was a nice shot, and it went in. So you give him the props for that. When he does something right, you give him the props. But when he's not doing stuff right, you definitely hold him accountable. And this is the problem with this team is Matt Savoy has not been held to account at any point this season for not doing the stuff right. And that was the end of the game. Shots on goal were 22-31 Oilers. Penguins win 6-2. Well, what's to say? Play heavy and you negate the Oilers' skill. It's as simple as that. This team is not designed for playoff hockey. You've heard me say this before. This team, this year, we are the Toronto Maple Leafs of the Western Conference. Good enough to make the playoffs, but unless we build an entire new third line, we're not getting past the first round this year. We're not. And yes, Savoy finally scored his first real goal in 17 games. But his line was invisible the rest of the game yet again. Rosovich showed he should be in the top 6, but he's not talented enough to do it by himself night after night when he's put on the third line. And that's not a slight at Rosovich. He is a opportunist goal scorer. You put him with Leon and Podkolzin, and he's going to, more often than not, give you those goals. You put him with Howard and Savoy, he's going to work his ass off for you, but the contributions are going to be minimal at best. I warned everyone not to buy into the propaganda after the Islander game, loss, Vancouver game, a win, and the Blues game, a win. Those 3 teams are teams we should be dominating, but they played non-contact shinny, and that played into how this team is designed. As soon as we hit a team, Jersey, that was willing to play actual hockey, we lost against a team we should not lose against. And we should not lose against the New Jersey Devils. Enter Pittsburgh, an upper middle team that plays heavy. And we got dominated for the full 60 minutes. As for goaltending, Oilers played in front of Jari like they were for the first half with Skinner and Pickard in net. And the result was exactly the same. So is Jari getting run out of town next? It's a valid question. Oilers allowed 5 breakaways and endless 2-on-1s this game. I don't blame Jari for this loss, just like I didn't blame Skinner or Pickard in the first half of the season. Truth is, Jari wasn't terrible. He wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. The problem with this year's Oilers has never been the goaltending. Also, as I have said, I am not a fan of playing goalies against their old teams. I'm speaking after a recent trade. I suspect the Penguins took advantage of their knowledge with Jari. I really do. And why wouldn't they? You know, if you're going to play them, why shouldn't they? Like I said, I think the Penguins were very smart not playing Skinner in this game because the Oilers know how to score on Skinner. They know his tendencies. They know what he's doing. And he hasn't been in Pittsburgh long enough to break those tendencies. Like, he's got a new goalie coach in Pittsburgh, but he's only played 8 games with the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, and probably had, maybe 3 practices, maybe 4 at the most. That's not enough to change your tendencies. So it was smart not playing Skinner against the Oilers, and it would have been smart for the Oilers not to play Jari against the Penguins. 3 stars. There were no stars in this game, and I refuse to give anyone a star. The Slugs, the entire team's effort, and Knobloch and Bowman's team design again. Oilers are now 25-19-8. Well, we're getting closer to that 500 mark again, aren't we? Next game is Saturday, January 24th, 2026 versus the Washington Capitals, another heavy team. We'll see how this one works out at 8 p.m. on Sportsnet. And that's my recap for today. If you like the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Takes 1 second to subscribe. Costs you absolutely nothing. Helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. If you're watching this on Rumble, please follow my channel. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Did you see the game the same way as me? Do you think the Oilers are this bad versus heavy teams? Because I don't think they can beat a legitimate heavy team. Like we're losing to non-legitimate. Like, I'm not saying Pittsburgh's non-legitimate, but the New Jersey Devils, there's no reason for us to ever lose to them this season, but we lost to them because they played heavy and we had nothing to push back with. Pittsburgh, they're a middle-tier team. They played heavy, we got dominated. Washington's one of the better teams in the East, and they play heavy. What's going to happen then unless we have a goalie stand on his head? What, is it going to be 8 or 9-2 for the Capitals? You need 4 lines in this league. And right now we have 2. Because we have the McDavid line, we have the Draisaitl line, and then we have our 4th line, which actually isn't a terrible line, but they barely ever get to play. And then our 3rd line's a complete wash. So we have literally 2 lines. We're a 2-line team, which puts us 1 line above what we were in the Decade of Darkness. That's not a good comparison. So, yeah. So please come in the comments. Tell me, what do you think? Also, leaving a comment really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.